What do you get when you mix warm beer, ringing eardrums, and StarCraft? Well, my friend, you get Brutal Legend. I remember playing this on the PS3 back in the day, and I enjoyed it. But that was when the dinosaurs started taking a big poopy on this planet. So I saw Brutal Legend on Steam, then I set it to favorites, and didn't really look at it until a good deal came along. Then one day over the holidays, a friend of mine decided to be very poggers and gifted me the game. And after seeing that, I knew I had to play it when I could. So thank you, Mick, for the wonderful gift. And technically, this is my first sponsored video. Let's go! Please keep in mind that my review here will be based on the PC port and a single player campaign. So on to the review.
I got you for 3 minutes! 3 minutes of playtime!
Brutal Legends is an action-adventure and real-time strategy game made in 2009 by developers Double Fine and directed by Tim Schafer. He is the designer for games such as Grim Fandango and Psychonauts. You play as roadie Eddie Riggs, who is voiced by Jack Black. Where you get blue skidooed into a world inspired by heavy metal. You fight with the human resistance of this new world against the game's antagonist Emperor Diviculus and his demons of the Tainted Coil. As a game about heavy metal, there should be music that is heavy and brutal. Music that is used in the game uses songs from notable bands in the genre's history. Just look at the bands that are included in the game's soundtrack. Some of the characters you meet along the way are even based on real-life people of the genre. It's got blood, leather, and jokes that made me either chuckle or made me think of my employed life.
Lars Halford, why are you poaching my employees?
I heard those guys over there say they're organizing a union.
I know metal is vast, and if I get something wrong, someone's going to get butthurt, but I enjoy it. I like the Fresh Prince, the Orthodox Celts. I like Tool. You know Tool? It's like the best band ever. They use calculators to write their lyrics. I love their song 420 and 69. It's like Galaxy Brain, you wouldn't get it. They're just the best. I won't go through the whole story, but give you a primer. While you can enjoy the game without the story, it's still good enough for you to get into the world and immerse yourself into it.
What is going on here? Breakfast!
Eddie Riggs is a roadie and he's the
best, okay? The greatest roadie in the biz.
He hates the band he works for as they don't treat him well and he's not a fan of their music. When the concert starts, he remarks that he feels like he's in the wrong generation, and one of the band members climbs where Eddie told him not to.
Stupid mother!
This forces Eddie to save the guitar and the band member, but at the cost of his life, when the stage falls on him and crushes him. Some of Eddie's blood gets on his belt buckle and summons the Eternal Fire Beast or Mogoden. Eddie then wakes up to an axe with some culty-looking people surrounding it. Eddie gets the axe and deals with the hooded people along with other demons that want to kill him. He also gets his guitar, which we saw from the concert after dealing with the initial cultists. He eventually runs into Goth GF Ophelia, and they work together to fight demons and escape. This was possible as Eddie is able to summon car parts with a stone slab that came from UltimateGuitar.com, showing him a solo to play. Eddie assembles the car, takes Ophelia with him, and escape. Emperor Diviculus inspects the scene where he comments that Socoria is back through Ophelia's dagger that was left behind, and says that war is coming. Ophelia leads Eddie to the rest of the humans who formed a resistance group against Diviculus.
Alright, so where's your army, Lars?
We have none.
They realize they need an army to take down Diviculus, and Eddie takes this mission and forms
This new army, Ironhead! With an E on the end, so people know we're not messing around!
You take the rest of the game recruiting new units for your army,
I'm helping!
learn about your friends and your connection to this place called the Brutal Lands, and fight back against Emperor Diviculus and his Tainted Coil. The Brutal Lands is expansive, with different biomes such as swamps and snow areas. Brutal Legend rewards exploration through secrets to uncover through bound serpents, discoverable solos, and much more. You'll be using your car for the most part to get around the world of Brutal Legend that can be summoned through the solo, the Deuce. There are also side missions as well, which you can complete for fire tributes. Missions are varied where you help some Ironhead units ambush enemies using more of the hack and slash side of the game. The other side makes use of driving your car where you can do some races, time attack where you deliver beer to a beach party, to turret defense missions where your car gets hoisted up and becomes a literal turret. Some side missions include specific NPCs where you get to meet the different citizens of Brutal Legend as well. You also get to see some units of different factions battle it out. If you help out your units defeat some enemies, you get some fire tributes. Wildlife also populates the world, which act as neutral mobs that help bring life to the world. Combat is pretty simple to start, with one button to swing your axe around and one button for rocking out with your guitar, which serves as your ranged attack. Mashing each of the buttons will do a quick combo, and holding each attack button charges up for a heavier attack. Pressing both at the same time makes you do a power chord which deals AoE damage and knockback. But this is just the beginning. You can do more combos by pressing attack buttons in a certain order. You can upgrade your effectiveness in combat by purchasing axe and guitar upgrades or new combos in the shop with the Guardian of Metal. You can also block and lock in on enemies, and if you block while locked in, you can do a dodge roll. It's like the Dark Souls. You also have access to solos which act as spells. You can select the solo that you want and you'll be prompted to press buttons in a sequence to perform the solo. If performed successfully, solos can do a bunch of things. The Deuce solo, which summons your car, the Face Melter, which can one-shot weaker units, and Bring It On Home, where it's a Led Zeppelin reference where you send in the Hindenburg on your enemies. Driving is your main method to get around the Brutal Lands. The Deuce comes with a turbo boost and an e-brake for power slides. Later on in the game, you can purchase upgrades to improve the performance or slap on different kinds of weapons to deal with the dangers of the Brutal Lands. It also comes with a radio so you can enjoy the variety of music that Double Fine has put together to go with your Tour of Destruction. What sets Brutal Legend apart from the other action-adventure games is its RTS gameplay. It's a 1v1 with each side with a main stage that each side must destroy to win. You have fans, which are these geysers, and these act as the resources to recruit units, upgrade your stage and your units. To tap into the fan geysers, you have to perform the fan tribute solo to construct your merge booth, which will harvest fans for you to spend automatically. You and your enemies can destroy opposing merge booths, so controlling these fan geysers will bring you victory. Speaking of upgrading your stage, there's a tech tree system as well. Not complicated, but still a tech tree system. By spending fans, you upgrade your stage up to 2 times, and each upgrade will give you access to more specialized units. At max stage level, you can also upgrade your basic units so that they will be more effective. You have 4 commands to control your army.
Okay, so when I do this, you go completely nut shit on whatever I'm pointing at, okay?
Attack, which is the beacon in red, which will send your units forward to attack anything that comes across them.
When I do this, it means don't follow me. Stay put, defend this hollowed ground, got it?
Defend, which is this blue beacon, and this forces units to stay where you tell them to, and will attack anything that goes near them.
When I do this, it means you gotta follow me, okay?
Follow, which makes units follow you, and move, which is this green beacon, and it will make units go to it and attack units and structures. You can also highlight areas with this white beacon, and pressing move will automatically send units to the white beacon. Each faction has their own units with unique strengths and weaknesses. It will be up to you on who to recruit to deal with certain kinds of threats. Some units are better at dealing with basic units, while others are siege type units that deal bonus damage to structures. Units also have a unique double team attack, where you and said unit will do a unified attack to deal more damage to enemies, or have special effects, such as the Thunderhog's AoE stun double team attack. You also have Flight, which is unique to the RTS sections of Brutal Legend. Flight will be your main form of transportation here, which will be important because you need to be near your units to give them commands. You will be using this to zip from area to area, go back to your base to give commands to new units, and back again. Let's now get into the factions. There are 3 factions, which are Ironhead, the Drowning Doom, and the Tainted Coil. For the single player campaign, you will only play Ironhead. They have their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as aesthetic choices that differentiate them quite well. They have their own unique units as well as solos, with some of them having similar functionalities. Let's start with Ironhead, with Eddie Riggs as its leader. Ironhead's aesthetic looks like your dad when he goes to heavy metal shows. Leather jackets, Harley Davidsons, and guys who just really like showing some skin. Bands that influence Ironhead are Kiss, Metallica, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. I can't help but to also include power metal such as Dragon Force and Lost Horizons as well. Ironhead is about versatile units that adapt to the situation. They don't excel in one thing except looking badass. General Lion White's Hair Militia is just a reskinned Ironhead army with the glam of 80s hair metal, so he won't be covered. Next faction is the Drowning Doom, with Ophelia as their leader. These are humans that drank from the Sea of Black Tears, and they are very spooky. They have this very gothic undead theme that looks like something out of a Tim Burton film. They work by debuffing and possessing enemies to fight for them. Throw in some doom metal and Lady Galadriel belting out opera vocals in a metal band, and you have the Drowning Doom. The last faction is the Tainted Coil, with Emperor Dwiculus as its leader. Their aesthetic is bondage and gore. Their playstyle is the usage of hierarchy units, which summon other units in the middle of the battlefield instead of just from the stage. They are based on shock rock and industrial metal that go with the gore and the macabre in their aesthetic. Makes me think of Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson when I look at them.
Oh, hell yeah.
Brutal Legend has a nice mix of hack and slash, exploration, and RTS. Having access to a shop where you can customize your own Eddie rigs through car and combat upgrades is a good way to tailor your experience for Brutal Legend. Each upgrade to your car, axe, and guitar also changes the cosmetics of your equipment, and to me this is always a big plus. I like how they were able to mix RTS and hack and slash through the use of double team attacks which vary per unit type. So this ends up in a lot of combinations and strategies on how you want to defeat enemies. Brutal Legend oozes style, and they know what they are about. This is a game about heavy metal, and they make sure to incorporate it into its art. They have achieved something that high-fidelity graphics cannot hold a candle to, which is great art direction. Even though this is a work of fiction, everything looks believable and fits. This makes me immersed into the world Double Fine has produced. In starting up the game, you are greeted by Jack Black. He goes into the record shop to show you a secret. He sneaks to the back of the shop under the forbidden metal section to show you the record of Brutal Legend, costing at $6.66. This serves as the main menu for Brutal Legend. As you go through the menu, you can see Jack Black open the record. This is taken even further with some songs they got for the game, like Judas Priest's Electric Eye playing in the background. This is a great setup for what's to come in Brutal Legend. Even when Double Fine's logo appears, it's said by the voice actors that sound like it's part of a metal song. The overworld looks good with its themes of heavy metal fantasy. The map markers are not just seen in the map, but can be seen as a giant stage light that shows you the way as you explore the Brutal Lands. They are able to meld the aesthetic into the gameplay really well. You use an electric guitar to attack enemies, play solos that melt faces and summon your car, and it just feels like spellcasting. Put it into a format where each solo has its own button combination and speed that the solo must be played in that emulates playing an instrument. I just want to point out that I love that Diviculus uses a quadruple neck guitar that is reminiscent of Tenacious D, when Calgas uses a double neck guitar in the form of shapely legs. The three factions that are based on the many facets of heavy metal music look great, and the unique units represent each faction well. The cast of Brutal Legend is also A+ by getting actual rockstar legends that helped in development, and not your typical high school band that just plays Smoke on the Water. But I think that would have been a cool cast of characters too, like just add in some teenagers who really want to be rock stars. This isn't everyone, but here's some of the cast. We have Jack Black, who plays the protagonist Eddie Riggs.
Hey, I'm not your master.
We have Rob Halford, vocalist of the band Judas Priest, plays as the Baron and General Linewhite.
Is this the outfit that murdered the General?
I am the only thing standing between you and him.
His name may be a reference for the character Lars Halford. There's Ozzy Osbourne, the vocalist for Black Sabbath, plays as the Guardian of Metal and is the inspiration for its design.
Well, it's about fucking time!
Lemmy Kilmister, who is the vocalist and bassist for the band Motorhead, and Hawkwind, who lends his appearance as he plays the character Killmaster.
Are you fighting Lionwhite? Why didn't you say so? I hate that bastard.
Lita Ford, who is the lead guitarist for the band The Runaways, who also had a successful solo career, plays as Rima.
We're already an army, and you're not welcome to join it.
Tim Curry is also part of the cast who plays Diviculus.
You are half so many things, I doubt any part of you is whole. Is there even a word for a creature such as you?
We even got Kyle Gass of Tenacious D, who plays Cage the Cannoneer.
Look, I know the guy sent you to give me a hard time, but you know what? You can all fuck off, because I never asked for mortar cannon duty.
The voice acting is pretty good, and the dialogue remains to be funny and kept me entertained in my playthrough. It was able to keep the wacky and the absurd of the experience while keeping the flow of the game and the story grounded enough to prevent anything from sticking out or letting jokes ride out too long. Double Fine has gone through lengths to make sure that the world of Brutal Legend symbolizes what metal is about. The music is the cornerstone of Brutal Legend. With a quick Google search, the OST for Brutal Legend counts at 20 songs, and the rest of the songs that came from other artists has its count at 107 songs, totaling at 127 songs.
Quick maths!
These include bands such as Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Tenacious D, Megadeth, Dragon Force. Even Deathclock made an appearance with their song Mermaider. That's just the bands I'm familiar with. There's even bands I haven't even heard of, such as, and excuse my mispronunciation, Dimmu Borgir, Skeleton Witch, Bishop of Hexen, Slowfig. The choices are varied. It's not just heavy metal or thrash metal that Ironhead is based on. There's also industrial metal, gothic metal, Teutonic traditional heavy metal, symphonic black metal, and many more. I'm not the most versed into differentiating, as I was more into 90s metal / rock bands such as Disturbed, Rage Against the Machine, and Audioslave. Right now I'm really into Bloodywood and The Who. If you decide to check them out, you're welcome. While I don't have as much experience in the discography of Brutal Legend, I definitely appreciate and love the genre, and its subgenres. With the world modeled from this fucking beautiful music, man. What better to explore the world with guitars, bass, drums, and vocals turned up to 11.
It hurts my face. Boy, I really hates it.
With this game being released in 2009, it is expected to see that the graphics have aged. While this is not a big issue, it's still enough to point out. Combat and driving is alright, but nothing really sticks out here. What does stick out is that you can't jump in this game. Brutal Legend lacks verticality in general, and I think that platforming in this game would give it more into its exploration and maybe even its combat with air attacks. Some checkpoints are just painful or non-existent, as at times when I die in the mission, I start from the beginning, which can be frustrating. I felt this the most in driving missions, as I had a hard time getting through. I played my run on brutal difficulty but tried to lower the difficulty, but this does not change it. I see some comments where the RTS gameplay is a hit or miss, and I feel like I'm in the camp where I enjoyed it. The flow of flying around, queuing and commanding units while doing some hack and slash and solos is enjoyable. It is not perfect though. It can get frantic, and I often forget how many units I have and end up having too much of one type of unit. I also wish that when in RTS mode, you can see the amount of supply and fans you have without having to go to its unit creation menu. I have to stop fighting just to bring up the menu, and this takes me out of the fun just because of some information I need to be able to queue in more units. Sometimes I'm not sure what's going on and would just get stuck in some sections, and it can get frustrating. I feel like this can be improved upon, and if Double Fine wants to revisit this in the future, I'm all for it. The Mad Lads even gave us multiplayer for this, and it would have been fine as just a single player game, but I have to give them props for just going all in on this. Now, I haven't been able to get into a multiplayer game. So far, all my ramblings for Brutal Legends RTS has been under the single player experience.
I'm having a hard time expressing myself.
Brutal Legend is a fun experience with Jack Black as the frontman, bringing his energy, charm, and voice into the story of Eddie Riggs. The game does show its age with its graphics, but I feel like the experience given to us by Double Fine and the cast that lent their voice and music for Brutal Legend is timeless. I think that Brutal Legend is deserving of a remaster or a remake. Hell, even give it a sequel. I will be definitely getting my hands on one if Tim Schafer can make his second album, that is Brutal Legends 2. I think the mix of hack and slash in an open world setting with the mix of RTS, while not everyone's cup of tea, is a breath of fresh air for attempts to change things up and show us what is possible with action-adventure games. They knew what the game was about, and they put as much as they could to make Brutal Legend the most brutal. Veterans of the genre of metal, or if you're a casual listener, I think will enjoy Brutal Legend. Even if you don't listen to that devil music, I think this will be a good primer for what it's about, and maybe it will make a fan out of you. Or if you just want to go full StarCraft on it and get good at the RTS, which I think is pretty cool too, I think I'll give this game a pretty good please make another Brutal Legend out of 10. There's my review, and if you like my content, comment, like, subscribe. If you think I forgot to mention anything, please mention it in the comments. If you hated this video, then dislike, comment, subscribe.
Bunch of wankers.
Other than that, I'm out.